This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, I'd like to call today's meeting to an order. Can I get a call to order, please?
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Costello, Labar,
Here.
Luther,
Here.
Kinsey,
Here.
Peterson.
Here. All right, thank you very much. If everyone's had a moment to review the agendas, is there any modifications?
Mr. Chair, I would like to modify the agenda to include under business the capital improvement projects.
Can I get a motion to support? Support.
I'll second that.
All right, motion carries. On to approval of the prior meeting minutes. If everyone's had a moment to review those, is there any changes? If not, can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion. Support.
All right, motion carries. On to business, line item 1.
Marketing, we had a meeting with the DDA about marketing here with the marina and in cooperation with the downtown businesses and districts. Shortly after our last meeting, they're waiting on stuff from me. I'm waiting on stuff from Texas. So other than that, I reached out to that company, the Great Lakes Cruisers, or not the Great Lakes Cruisers, the Great Loop Cruisers, and have started the paperwork with them. I asked them to delay our membership until January, and the only reason I asked for that delay till January was because that's when the reservation system opens for us. So I figured there was no sense of going on there and them starting to flash that across there and nobody being able to make a reservation.
That's good.
So I did that.
I was at the last meeting. Did you get together with Mary Beth yet or not?
Have not been able to get a hold of Mary Beth yet. She was pretty deep into dark skies and I have been really deep into my other job. So.
Okay.
Another job?
I feel like it some days. So I was unable to get with Mary Beth. I'm hoping right after the first of the year to try to reach out to her again on that.
So the membership of the Great Loops, that will hit in the next fiscal year budget then, right?
Well, it'll actually be in this fiscal year. I'm going to beg, borrow, and steal money from possibly like dock boards or something like that in order to make that happen. I'm hoping that the return on investment on that is worth the money. We'll know.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I want to do this summer is we're going to have the kids kind of keep a tally, ask people how they decided to come to Alpena.
Mhm.
That'll give us an idea of where better to advertise.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you guys want to share from our meeting? I think one of them that we were looking at was like, we're going to approach some of the businesses. A lot of places you go, you get the option of, or sometimes there'll be like a discount, like a 10% off discount or a free appetizer or something like that. We're going to approach a few of the businesses about that.
Have like a bit of like a book.
Yep.
where, like,
Yep.
for certain businesses or somewhere specific to eat or something shop for, then the harbor will have like a coupon for them. And that's part of drawing them into the downtown area.
Cool.
We should also probably keep track, maybe if they think about it, you have a boat come in, some boats come in with one person, some come in with 4 people, how many people we talking? It always helps.
Yep.
Marketing.
Typically I see 2 on a boat.
Mhm.
That's the typical number I've seen.
Mhm.
Seen very few with 1.
There was talk within that realm. Wasn't there talk about next season when people make reservations when they're done, that there was going to be like an email survey sent to them?
We talked about that and I'm still trying to figure out how to make that work.
Okay.
So it's not labor intensive on Shannon's
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Shannon has a lot of little hats she wears here, so trying to figure out ways that things are not labor intensive on Shannon is always a bonus.
You got dock workers down there, they could send.
And that's what I'm hoping is some of these responsibilities, now that the fiber is down there and all of that is hooked up, we will be able at that point in time to hand this off to 1 or 2 of our more dedicated dock hands. I can think of 4 off the top of my head that could possibly take care of some of this stuff, including some of the social media. We're looking at Katie being able to help us a little bit with that also. Just trying to, again, make everything flow together and work together as much as we can.
When they check in here, they have to make contact with somebody at some point in person. Would there not be an opportunity then when the dock hands are there checking them in, saying, hey, how many are in your party? Where did you come from? Where are you doing?
Yep.
Why are you doing it?
And that's what I'm hoping is that they can do those, ask these people while they're actually checking in. Because there's a lot of times that we're typing on the computer or whatever. Hey, do you mind taking a couple seconds and just filling this out while you're here? Just to give us an idea where to best market ourselves to. So just, 4 or 5 quick questions.
So when they reserve online, they pay online, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then their contact here is only, hey, what slip do I go to, kind of?
Actually, when they reserve online, they get to pick their slip now anymore.
Okay.
So then when they come in, they actually come in and check in with us.
Okay, so they just gotta let you know
Yeah.
they're
They're
in.
in and we
Still
check.
have the opportunity then to something
Correct.
face to face.
And I can tell you most times, all of them are good about coming there because they want to find out where they're going to dinner. That's probably, where are we eating tonight? What are you in the mood for? We got, what am I up to, 15 restaurants downtown? Or within walking distance? I wasn't able to send anybody to the Polish Corner yet, so I'm waiting.
This summer.
It's good.
Good place.
Great.
So, that's, marketing kind of what we've been doing with that stuff where everything we're gearing towards is gearing towards that. Right now it's tentatively January 10th is they're going to open up reservations again. At that point in time, we'll start our great big push of trying to get people out. Katie knows demographics and how to work the demographics on Facebook. So that's going to be a push this winter. Again, with the Great Lakes Cruisers, we're pushing everything so that we're set up with them so that we hit their website at the same time.
So,
Any other questions on marketing?
all right. If not, on to number 2, commercial business SOP and agreement.
I believe in your packet, I sent you the information that Rick got us on as far as the checklist. So guys, you're the voters, I'm not. Take a look at that and see if that's what we feel is going to be reasonable as far as that commercial businesses. Everything in there seemed reasonable and feasible to me as far as that was concerned. I have been, that capital improvements thing that you're looking at right here, we do about 300 of those entries a year and 80% of them are ones that I help put together and or put in. So it takes me a little bit of time this time of year to get this done. So a lot of stuff that I tried to get done didn't get done because of that. Just we are still working on some of that. One thing I did want to bring up is we talked about being able to sell the bathroom passes to the charter boats. My thought is those charter boats at that point in time should be registered. It's a no fee registration for the charter boat captains. Is that an unreasonable thing to ask for?
Everybody's looking at you, Rick.
Wait.
What? Like right now, when we have the commercial fishermen, or when we have commercial boats that are in here, they're gonna have to fill out an application basically saying they're a commercial fisherman in.
Yeah, I mean,
And if you guys, and to me, if you want to buy that bathroom card, at that point in time, I want you to fill out my form so I know you're here. And that just kind of, I'm thinking for liability reasons, will cover us then, because part of that is that you're showing me you have insurance. I know that's part of you having a charter boat. But if you want my bathroom keys and they're going to be in there.
yeah, nobody should have a problem with that.
Okay.
Because the bathroom keys they would get, is this one that a charter boat company could get and it would work for the season or just for the trip?
For the season.
Okay, for the season.
Like Rick, it doesn't have a seasonal slip. So he would come and purchase the bathroom cards.
And that would work a full season.
And that would work for the full season.
Okay.
Rick, are these inspection lists any different than Coast Guard or anything else? I mean,
That's what when I get DNR inspected, that's what they're going off of. There's a few other things that the Coast Guard wants, but the DNR themselves don't look for them. But they're more so like when you're on the water kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think that we have to be that strict.
So you don't see this as any real obstacle? I mean, you, as a captain, you're
I mean,
routinely got that all covered anyway.
yeah, they should.
If they're legit, they're going to have all these things covered. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what inspections are there? There's Coast Guard, which is every, what, 3 years?
You're talking about that for
The
the
Airbnb, we're going to use a portion of those lists for Airbnb.
Gotcha. Okay.
And basically, I'm not even going to do that inspection if they have their charter license. That pretty much is already guaranteed. They've done.
Already done it. So if I want to Airbnb my boat, you're going to come through and do this inspection on my boat?
Yes, or going to have you have it done is probably what we're going to do, is you have to have it done in order for me to give you,
Facilitates that inspection.
who facilitates it. You would have to, when you came in and inquired with me, it would be one of the requirements in the forms that you would fill out to have an Airbnb in the marina, is for that inspection to be done
By whom?
by you.
Oh, I just agree that I've done this.
Well, actually, it'd be by a third party.
Right?
The third.
Harley and Reed is what we're thinking.
Okay. That's that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Someone did it I guess
I know.
someone did just a general Coast Guard inspection for the start of the season and they got their sticker. That would potentially count too, or is
The reason it,
Pretty,
that's pretty big, like,
It's only safe.
and that's about it.
Okay.
that, I was going to say that one's.
This has stuff to do
This is
about
more-
how your the
right.
quality of
There's
your
a lot of
boat,
stuff, yeah.
actually,
Okay.
which the Coast Guard doesn't seem to
Okay.
care. So,
Gotcha.
so Arley and Reed, I mean, there's no certification for those
Correct.
for their doing the inspection. So
And that's, and that's why I'm saying we're going to have one or the other. You guys have already cleared this whole checklist that we're developing as part of your charters,
Mhm.
captains. So if you're actually have the charter certificate, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to have a charter certificate. You can either give me the charter certificate, or you're going to have to pay a third party to do that. Now, does it necessarily need to be Arlene Reed? No, but it's got to be somebody that we feel is knowledgeable and acceptable. So does that mean you could have Nate come down and do it? I think so.
I just don't see, if I was Arlene Reed, I'd be like, I'm not doing that.
that's what I'm.
Why would I take on that liability?
And that's what I'm.
So I think you have to, you're going to require that. You're gonna have to say, this is the entity that's willing to do this and assume this liability.
And I think Rick was looking to, because there was some that you thought.
There's some actual surveyors.
Yep.
I don't know. We have one that does the statewide. I don't have his information yet, but
So you're,
Rich McTaggart used to do that. I don't know if he's still licensed to do it or,
I don't know.
but there's people around.
I don't know if he is. That's a fairly costly
Uh-huh.
Big
process.
survey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a marine, having a
Hopefully you
marine
won't have,
surveyor do it.
you won't have a boat sinking in the middle of the
Well,
harbor.
I guess if you want to,
Asking if they'll get it out.
if you want to do Airbnb, I mean, this is certainly going to be a hurdle.
It's a cost of doing business is, I guess, what I'm
I
looking at.
gotta, I gotta,
So do you guys have to do that kind of thing? Or
yeah, that
by a marine surveyor?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
And that, is it once a
Every 5
decade?
years, I have a marine surveyor come and do the dry haul. Every 2 years, the DNR come and do like the safety, life jackets, the general stuff. But every 5 years, it gets dry hauled.
Okay. I guess,
Right.
I don't.
And that's, I guess, what I'm trying to prevent is somebody coming in here by Navy Crow, hanging it out in our marina and,
I was just,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the fear, is that that's not the boat.
You don't have to have them come every year and do it.
Yeah.
It's something.
So that's going to be part of what you come up with is how often they have to
Yes.
have this thing done. Yeah.
And that's, again, we're just trying to prevent it from being 17 derelict boats that can't run that want to come into the marina and do this. And then all of a sudden, you guys don't have slips.
I guess I didn't think that's where we were heading with it, but I'm fine with it. So
Well, and my other concern is you have a boat that's not running or something like that, and it's got a bad generator, and then somebody dies on it.
That's your own liability. I don't think that
Right.
Working through this conversation, I think the city should have a checklist that, because having the boat surveyed, like whether my boat runs or not, I mean, I could pass a survey and not run.
Okay,
I think the marina said, if you're going to Airbnb it, these are the 10 stipulations that we need. It needs to be running, can't leak any fluids, not unsightly,
okay.
something. I don't think having a marine survey once every 10 years, like how often are you going to require a marine survey, and it could go derelict in between that time. I
Right.
think you're having a yearly inspection of like, this is what we want if you're going to Airbnb in our harbor.
Okay.
That's my suggestion, like a 10-point checklist of citing exactly what you guys are just talking about.
Mhm.
Somebody buying derelict boats and throwing them in there, and
Key West has got a lot of them for sale.
but I just think having liability on someone else,
Pay you to take some.
if they're driving the boat, that's a whole different boat rental situation. That's
Right.
Airbnb. So,
Well, and that's a charter. At that point in time, it's a charter and
Yeah.
it's a different animal.
so that's why I'm saying I think we should have something here that is a 10 or 20 points that are.
That may be something Arlie's okay with signing off on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. And he's somebody who's in the loop and knows
Right.
what you're looking for. And
Because
And we have a,
if those Airbnb people are going to let them take the boat out or whatever, now it is a charter.
Yeah.
And now it falls under
Charter,
all of this
yeah.
other stuff. Yeah.
we do have a limitation, or we were discussing a limitation by how many Airbnbs could be
Correct.
in the marina at one.
Correct. We said 2 is where we were last, I believe.
Yeah.
Do they have to like apply and us approve it?
Yes. Well, they have to apply and I have to approve it.
is that yearly?
Yes, but the initial thought is they will have first right
The refusal?
or refusal the following year. Correct.
So I think though that I'm just saying a 20-point inspection is part of that when you're selecting.
Process.
Have you talked to Arlie about this at all?
I have not because I wanted to run it past you guys to see if you were willing. If this was,
You know what? He might even help come up with that list.
That list was just because Shannon didn't know what the,
Right.
what,
Yeah.
and, you know, when I gave it to her, I said, somebody needs to go through.
Yep.
Pick, you don't need all that. You just need to go
Yeah.
pick what.
Right.
You know, this is what is required by people. Pick what you want out of here.
Right.
And it can be just a 10,
Right.
10-point thing, but.
and that's, again, you guys are the boaters.
But they should still have a Coast Guard inspection because it's on the water, have life jackets. It should meet all the Coast Guard.
Yeah, so you can get those complimentary
Right.
inspections or whatever
Voluntary
But you still
every year.
done.
Yeah, Right.
Oh,
Call
And
and
you
get
get your sticker.
what are they going to require for insurance for
a lot.
that? I mean, that's going to be a commercial,
Mhm.
a commercial thing, not a.
It's cost prohibitive at this point. I called my insurance and just because like me and Jeff were talking
Yeah.
and I'd probably break even if I did it, but is it worth it to break even? No.
Yeah, it's more of a pain than it's worth it, and that's.
Yeah.
Again, I think I had 7, 8 phone calls for this year, and that's why before we get into a situation
Yeah.
where it's not a great thing, let's get some ground rules.
And I think that's a great idea because I think the people that are going to make money at it, they're going to have really nice boats that are really popular, or they're going to have really shitty boats that.
Nothing.
Yeah.
They got it for next to nothing. They're renting it for next to nothing. And the guy next to them absolutely hates me at this point in time because I allowed him to park there.
Party boat.
So that's what I'm trying to prevent because I don't know how many of you live next to an Airbnb or have lived next to an Airbnb or have been involved with that, but inevitably they walk next door to the neighbor and ask, hey, do you know? So that's what I'm trying to prevent more than anything, I think, is just for you guys who are there year in, year out, seasonally, the users of it, everything else, it's not being detrimental to you guys if we allow this.
So at this point, just to kind of move it forward, with the Airbnb situation, the common thought right now, at least, is a 2 cap in the marina at all times. What if, I don't know, boat Airbnbs, could someone sail their boat up, leave it up there for 2 weeks, and that would count like it's 2 maximum for the marina period?
That's a transient situation at that point in time, so I'm not.
So they'd be chartering it. So it's
Yeah.
their own
Well, it's more like if they came up, let's say I sailed up here, left my boat for 2 months and it never left the slip and I Airbnb'd it while I was in Cancun. I don't know, something like that. So we're looking at 2 cap. We're looking at developing some kind of checklist that's anywhere between 20 and 10 questions that are maybe derived from
Mhm.
what we're provided, and then working out, they have to have proof of insurance and everything like that.
Correct. We feel that's a reasonable direction for this to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and seeing what Arlie and Reed
Are willing
I
to
mean,
not do.
they want to charge for it. I mean,
It's good. It's a cost of doing business.
charge $100 to come out, and yeah, I think they should.
It's a cost of doing business as far
Yep.
as I'm concerned.
I would maybe on that checklist too, to have like a rental, like have a local agent, having someone local in case something's going on with that boat. So we don't have somebody from Florida.
Yeah, just drop it off kind of thing.
Yeah. And then,
So a local agent, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that gives me more direction than I had, so I appreciate that. That's why I wanted, because it was, you kind of start with the big, long checklist and we kind of go from there and we see what's really important on it and we go from there. So that's what I didn't know. Did we want them to go to that extent or not?
Cool. So we're cool with that. Moving on to line item 3, committee requested discussion points. This is the one that you
These were ones that you guys as the committee
requested, right?
request that we talk about again. Steve Wilson.
What? I wasn't paying any attention. You're moving on.
You're the one that asked for this.
All right, which one do you want to talk about? I wasn't paying attention.
Fish cleaning station fees.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my point on that was it, because Rick said that people come down from Rogers City and using their fish cleaning station. Is there any way, should we regulate a cost of using it since it costs so much to? I mean, I guess I
I
just,
don't know how you're gonna regulate.
well, I don't know. That's why I was just throwing it out there. If that's even a
I mean, if
possibility.
you put a keypad on it, the first guy that walks in the door is gonna hold the door open for the next 3. So
How about something like they do at the ramp? I mean, you got the $5 charge to ramp a boat, something like that?
Who's going to police it?
No,
yeah.
nobody polices the other one.
The police and the other.
You police it.
The other thing is,
They give a few tickets.
not providing,
And if you don't have your tag, you get a ticket.
by not providing that service, you open yourself up, or you open it up to maybe fish guts laying on the side of the bank, or
No, I'm not, I'm just, I guess I know that wasn't my alternative to it. The alternative was, do nothing, keep it going. Or is there a way to generate something to make sure, so you can have proper cleaning of it and maintenance through the fisher, for the people who use it? It was kind of the thought, if there's any way
I don't
to.
know how you would, I don't know how you would do it.
I mean, what percentage of people are driving a half hour just to use her?
Crazily enough, a lot.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you're not gonna get.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll probably get the people who buy launch things. You could get them there. You could get the guy that, like me, I buy my sticker for my boat. You could assess a fee on every seasonal slip. Not a big fee, but everybody you can get, you can assess a fee. But in the end, the ones that you're trying to get, you're not going to get.
Right.
I'm thinking like 4 quarters and like a laundromat. You got electricity for 30 minutes.
Yeah, something along that. Is there a way,
I mean, that's
if we really thought it was,
bad idea.
could we do it
It'd be effective.
like a QR code, like consider supporting fish cleaning station, like scan? I mean, we did that with Thunder Bay Trails Association with our cross country ski courses. We put the signs up. I can't remember the number we made in one year, but it was pretty significant. And it's just that they code it and it goes, it's the first option they get is $5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's even,
I would hit up the brown trout, the steelheaders, and the walleye club for donations before
you do that.
I went anywhere else with it.
Okay.
Because the brown trout and the walleye club use that
Yeah.
cleaning station more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Probably even more than the steelheaders.
Question on, thing I get a little bit hung up on is the frequency and volume. The guy that is a charter brings everything here, cleans everything here, comes from Presqu'île, whatever. Now, again, it's tourism, so I'm not kicking sand in anybody's face. but that's high volume. And how many are cleaned and the entrails come here, 100 pounds of it a day or whatever, you know? And then what do you do about it? You can't administer.
How are you gonna, them are the
I agree.
people, how are you gonna get money out of those people?
Yeah.
It's the people that are here that are the easiest targets.
Yeah,
Puts a-
but you hit the charter guys for a couple $100 a year. What about the other guys? You know,
Well,
you're
that's
gonna
the
get
problem.
that fight going on.
Well, I would suggest a volunteer thing first.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with
Good
however
idea.
the Trails Association does it, you know, the QR code thing, or I don't know how difficult that is to.
You can put a Dropbox even in there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got, I mean, just see what happens.
Because right now, the people that clean it is the dock hands or
Yes.
is it DPW? Okay.
Dock hands and DPW, it's split between the marina techs and them. Everybody's responsible when you're walking by it to look in it.
Okay.
But there's a
Including myself.
amount of maintenance there though, right?
Oh, it's big. What?
That grinder thing burn out all the time.
It has a tendency when we get catfish in it that they plug it. So we have a way to fix it now.
What is the cost, like the water costs and say general maintenance? What do you budget as a line item for
I
$1,000 a year? I mean, it's quite a bit, wasn't it?
10 grand. It's right around 10 grand. I think my water bill is $7,000 a year for that. And then my electric is part of that other building. And then I figure,
Yeah.
Sucking that out of the.
yeah,
We could hook up a PEX pipe and be
Yeah.
fine.
Pays the water bill
Have to be potable water, right?
for the water park.
don't even ask. That's the argument that we get, is that you guys pay for the water. But that's,
Rotary Club.
well, Rotary Club is actually gonna, part of that new water splash park is a recycling system for the
Oh, awesome.
splash park, because it was a lot more than any of us expected.
I think you keep it on the radar, but I think the voluntary thing is the way to do it.
Yeah, so however, put a coffee can there with a.
Your lid.
Yeah, something.
That's it, Don.
Well, and, I think we just start with just a sign in there, or a sign on the door that politely says, it costs us a lot of money. Please police behind yourself.
Yeah.
Any donations are accepted. The charter captains, I kind of figured we were $100 for the bathroom cards for the year, or whatever it was going to be. I figured a little bit of that was going to go towards,
Yeah.
I kind of said, about 50-50 split, because they're the guys coming in every day probably to do the the cleaning and stuff like that. They're probably some of our bigger users. If they want that bathroom card, that's kind of portions of that is going to get used towards portions of this,
I think the counter argument to the Rotary Club is, I don't own a daycare and taking my daycare down to the splash pad to use it, where we know the charter fishermen are making money off of having that here. So that is a little bit different than something like the splash pad in that sense too.
Mhm.
I get what you're saying.
Not really.
There's-
Almost like he was obligated.
There's only 5 charter boat captains and there's
They worked that out, right?
Yeah, they rehearsed that one.
a fish cleaning station. So
Yep. And that's why I don't want to ding our charter captains or
Yeah.
anything like that. But
Well, I think
Even the
especially
guy
with the
that's got-
shifts that we're doing.
I have sunfish to clean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think with the shifts that we're doing, I don't see anything at this point that's too extreme with what we're bringing in, but I would want to be a little leery of coming in hard with some other things. I mean, unless it really does become like okay, this is not sustainable.
and
Like kind of what you were saying with, approaching the clubs first kind of situation.
And that's part of the thing that we are looking at is some of the, I'm going to have a really good handle here shortly. The auditors are just about done.
that's how it was built. It was built by
Yeah.
Nation.
donations and
Kind of honoring the original spirit of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we're trying to prevent that from happening. And, again, if I can get Walleye Club and some of them to maybe do a little bit of money. Like I said, I budget an hour a day. So an hour to an hour and a half a day to clean the fish cleaning station. And then I also budget, $7,000 or $8,000 for the water. And then I budget another, I think it was 1,000 for the other miscellaneous utilities and stuff.
I don't,
So it's not horrible. There's times that it's used tremendously and it's a problem. You're in here at 11 o'clock taking it apart and fixing it. But again, it's just part of business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
So,
There's a lot of people use that harbor for launching and fishing. That's huge.
and that's, that's another thing is, I forgot to have Cassie look that up for me, but we run what we figure is all the launch fees and launch tickets is what pays for the fish cleaning station.
Mhm.
So, and that's, so long as we hit that $10,000 every year, it's awesome that that's what's covering that, because that's kind of in my mind is $10,000 to run the fish cleaning station. We took a big hit when we gave the city residents that 50% discount. So that was a big hit to that budget line item. Hoping that we're coming back that other way again. People are coming in to use the marina and stuff like that.
What did we do? We had 50 for out and 25 for city.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Yep.
He's still a buy. Yeah. That's a real buy.
Yeah. And that's, again, I'm going to have a little bit better idea here shortly. We're going to have that year behind us where we can see what that line gave us. So, and again, so long as we're covering that 10,000 with that money, I'm going to be pretty comfortable without a fee on it. And, like you said, go to Walleye and some of them and see if they'd be willing to help with that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Yeah.
We already tell like the tournaments and stuff that come in, we ask them to actually clean it after they're done. Just spray it down so that it's not a complete mess for us in the morning.
That's nice.
And then
Dockage, was that you that? Oh,
that was him again.
that was him.
Me again?
You asked a lot of questions, man.
He did. He had a lot of things he wanted to talk about.
So last year we talked about who pays for dockage and who do we give free dockage to? And we always said, well, we're going to give free dockage to the law enforcement. And then everybody else, I think you told me you're going to charge.
Law enforcement and youth activities.
We delayed it to 23 on a number of them.
Yes, but
yeah,
we're all set on that though. I just wanted to confirm that.
It seemed like that. Noah was probably the biggest group there that was concerned. I had a conversation with them. They thought it was going to be more expensive, I think is what it was. So they seemed like they were on board.
So we'll get some extra.
Everything.
Yeah, okay.
And then one of the college groups is not super happy with me, but I don't know what to tell them.
That's why they get grants.
So I pointed that out to them and they told me that's not how that works. And I told them that I beg to differ because somebody had already done that once.
Okay. I just want to clarify that.
Yes.
Goose Management.
Oh, that was me again?
That was you again. This is your list. I'm just going to say. You're the only one that calls me.
It's apparently, between meetings, you got to keep your mouth shut. So on the Goose Management, we were waiting down there, we were putting the boats away, and that darn thing's going off all the time. I go, my gosh, shut up. So anyway, I think we need to do something different.
What we're going to try down there with the Goose Management system that we have in existence right now is we're going to limit the hours of it. We think we'll shut it off overnight, which is not great because that's kind of when they float on in, but we will shut it off overnight. We'll probably shut it down at about 9 o'clock. And then I think I can extend out to like every half hour.
Because it's on like, how often is it now?
15.
That's too often.
I think.
They get used to it. They don't.
And that's,
Head up.
you've seen that it kind of moved around. We shared the wealth with that around the marina. That's why you do that, is because they're a little freaked out. We're also going to have another meeting about Goose Management in January. Looking, still expanding on what we've already started. We tried the Goose Buster. We did some of this stuff. Going to kind of do a two birds, one stone with a project at Bayview. Hopefully, if I can get enough funds together to do that, where we're going to let the grass grow up high and put in a native prairie along the shoreline there between the bike path and there, which is another deterrent. They don't like tall grass.
Yeah.
So, and then
It's a statewide, God, it's a countrywide problem. You'd think someone would be, I don't know what the answer is, but.
And there's other than continual hazement of them, that's pretty much what they're saying. One other thing is we're going to look at the possibility, because we do nest collection, nest destruction and egg collection. We have a permit for that. We've never come this side of the dam and done it, so we're going to see if there's a way for us to come this side of the dam and look for the nest over here and oil those eggs also.
Didn't seem as bad last summer as it was in years
I
past.
think the deterrent helped. I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there were less and even less ducks, I think, too.
Yeah.
We did spend a lot of time deterring. People would send me pictures of them. I said, "Did you chase them?" You know. So that's a portion of it. I think the boaters know now that this is not an issue. You know, shoo them off, get rid of them, keep them moving, keep them upset. We've actually talked about like the drones and stuff flying around and chasing them. But it's just a continual hazement until there's someplace where it's better for them to be and not around people. And that's what it's going to take.
Somebody else's yard.
There's some other helps too, but they frown upon that in this. So, I mean, that's a portion of it. You know, the goose hunt wasn't overly successful this year just because of the wind the one day. But, you know, we did, you know, it's unfortunately going to have to continue to be a portion of it because we had 62 geese in the marina. So,
Wow, that's a lot.
I counted them one morning. In frustration, I counted them one morning. So, you know, the deckhands, again, it's one of the very first responsibilities they have in the morning. Sometimes I have to remind them of that, not so gently, that's their first responsibility in the morning is to wander around and clean up behind the geese. So, but that is, you know, I think that's part of it is we put forth a lot of effort this year to make certain that the docks were cleaner than they have been in the past.
They were.
They were
cleaner.
definitely better.
Yeah.
Other than that, anything else on geese?
I'm all set.
Okay.
Moving on to lease agreement.
I believe you all received that packet of information that Cochon presented to us. He presented a proposal in there as far as a modification to his lease and his lease agreement. Looking for conversation in regards to.
The only thing I saw, it all looked fine to me, except, you know, the rent. I think there should be a minimum because you know, he set it forth as 10%, and some, you know, obviously June, July, and August are good months. Gets a little dicey after that. So probably should be a minimum.
Okay.
Of some nature.
What is his current rate, or what is his current rate?
$1,500 a month.
And so the rent between that space with Cochon Market and then the next, you know, the business, all marine.
Yeah.
That they split the cost and that covers the operations of keeping them building up and running, right?
What I did with that is there was a number that we were hitting before, we were trying to hit it again.
Okay.
And what that money was always earmarked for was repairs to the building for like the next 10 years was repairs towards that building in order to get it back into something that is usable.
And what are we going to do with, I mean, are we going to paint it this spring? I mean, the
This-
presentation of the outside of it's pretty, on the one side's not.
I was super hoping that we could have sided it, but that was $40,000 and I can't get another contractor to give me a price. So that was siding and windows in the shop, siding on two sides of it, like the two facade facing. And I can't get another contractor to give me a price. So I am,
For that,
I'm still diligently trying to figure out what to do with that. At a minimum this year, I'm going to have it cleaned and painted. I still need to do something with the windows. At that point in time, I think you could go and get prices from like Home Depot and Northeastern Window and Door. They do installs and stuff like that and see if they would put them in.
What type of siding were you putting on, a vinyl?
Vinyl siding. At this point in time, I would even consider pole barn siding on it, it's a matter of,
Oh, that's expensive.
yeah, I know. But that's where I'm at is the price of stuff went up so crazy that's where we ended up on that number.
Home Depot, a lot of times, of course, the city of Alpena is a not-for-profit, but a lot of times they will provide
Mhm.
materials at no cost. I don't know if they'd ever do something like this, it's too big or what. I don't have any idea, but they do a lot of that.
We can take a look at that. I can work with them on that. I've been meaning to call over to the CTE program, but it sounds like they're kind of went into a different direction recently. I was going to see if they would come in and do the siding.
Her sister.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. As she walks out of the room.
If she walks
Running.
hiding away, yeah. So I was kind of hoping maybe I could get that group over possibly to put the siding on and just have not been able to connect up with them. So this summer, we're just going to paint it. We're going to start with that and go from there.
So back to the lease agreement, and
Mhm.
Steve and I had a conversation and kind of about that, and independently, and I didn't talk to him about it since, I kind of thought the same thing, is that I'm okay with the 10%, but there needs to be some kind of minimum because, there could be a month where,
It's $50.
yeah, exactly. So he's giving us $5, so that's kind of my.
I think it's important, unless there's a lot of competition, waiting in line to take that over, but I don't see them waiting in line. I think it's a nice service to have there, and I'd like to, prop them up until such time as, there's a lot of development going on.
Mhm.
It's gonna get better.
Mhm.
Don't lose them in the meantime.
So, is there a recommendation that the city can provide to us of a number of a minimum or something that we need to discuss as a?
It was one of the things that we have been discussing internally, and one of the thoughts was at a minimum, we need to cover the utilities on the building.
And how
It
much
was
per month, roughly?
$100 was his utility portion.
For his side, okay.
Mhm.
Did he do a lot of at least, well, we did improvements on the building, but everything, fixtures and all that, that's his.
He put a lot of fixtures and stuff in there. He did a lot of stuff to the inside of the building. We painted it. We painted the floor and stuff like that. We did some improvements, but a lot of what he did inside, he put out a lot of capital this year to get things up and going kind of in a right direction.
Because the things, underneath paragraph or the line 5, where they're talking about improvements to lighting, things like that, that's not feasible for the city to take on, correct? Like
Not yet.
sign or anything like that. That wouldn't be 3 option.
It's not a feasible thing for us if I don't get that rent.
Yeah.
That takes a big chunk out of our budget. Because again,
That's almost a leaseholder improvement, I would think.
Really?
Sign.
You guys pay, is it the same kind of deal for them?
They have a different fee schedule. They're at,
Because they'll be in the same boat. They don't do a lot of work in the wintertime. They don't do any work probably.
they gave me all their rent checks for winter.
Well,
What's their fee schedule?
Probably about half of that because they're in the shop. It's not a storefront.
Touching on what Wayne said and we had said, I think I'm in favor of doing a minimum, but the maximum should be higher. When we'll support you when you're doing less, you support us when you're doing more. That takes a little bit of risk off of him. And maybe a tiered, like how many year lease do we have on this building?
He has optional renewals for 5 years.
So maybe we say you do a 3-year lease, we'll do it 500 this year, 700,000 with a fee schedule,
With the minimum.
I think what he proposed right in this document was through January 23. So it's only
You're talking about the 1 year.
it's a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm saying is if you sign a 3-year lease with us, we'll give you whatever 500 minimum rent the first year, 750 the second year, 1,000 the third year. We're propping you up while you're establishing your business, getting things going, and assuming in 3 years you're going to have a little bit more going on than you do now.
And there's some reorganization that he's discussed, we've discussed, just things that I think over the year you've seen that you can improve on, that we've mentioned. So there's some reorganization as far as things that are going to happen down there, product and stuff like that. So, and then he's hoping his online business also takes off at the same time, where this is a mute point. June of next year, we're getting the rent amount that we need.
And there's no conflict with his thoughts in here about increased boating supplies or parts or with Lee or with Reed and.
You've been talking to them back and forth, haven't you?
Yes, the boating supplies were talked with Arlie on that for what they are not going to carry or what they would like to have for me to carry. So we're talking about replacement light bulbs, fuse, snaps, things like that. So that way they don't have to order it and we would have it available for people. So there's a list of things that they won't carry and then I would have, and then we talked about some for when they come in on the weekends and they're not available, like motor oil, filters and stuff like that. And at that point, the best solution would be to just take their inventory and for me to keep it as consignment and just have it available and keep track and money afterwards. So we don't double back, but then it's available also when they're not there.
Right.
Some improvement on the building. That's where they're like the lighting and the signage. Like the sign, I started looking into with Omega of what it would be. That's something that down the line, I'm not expecting the city to put a sign of my business, but then if I have the permission from the city or anything to put it on the existing wooden panel and match, so I can have a sign. The light is, I don't know what can be done. Mostly it's safety right now. Like at this time, it's pitch black.
Yeah.
Is it an exterior light not working?
There's none.
Okay.
That's the main thing. There's
The wiring
no
out.
exterior lighting.
There is.
There is. Okay.
There's a switch.
There's a switch. I apologize. I did not realize that was not working.
That's the only thing that gets pitch black, like the Halloween. It was like people were like,
I apologize. I did not realize that was not working. So
I didn't realize because I was in the summer. Before sun's down, so,
Right.
So it was a little different.
Okay.
And then part of the trying to not reorganize the business, but kind of geared the market at the right place. I'm working constant contact with Mike Donnelly at a small business development. I can't remember what the C is.
SBDC.
Yeah. SBDC to just go and work basically analytics of what's going through and business to which products we should take out, where we can put a bigger margin. The fact that the license came in and was end of October that screwed up this numbers. So, but little projects hoping that bring people up. I mean, part of it was the initial idea was that there would be foot traffic and we would get people up to the marina. Now it's just readapting to make it the other way around, make them come to the market and then stay at the marina, then come to the marina and come and shop around. So marketing strategy has to be different.
Because are you thinking, Philippe, with the idea of where your suggestion about where the murals are and having more like kind of almost like a hangout space, I guess, is that something that you're envisioning that you would be covering the cost to bring that kind of seating there? Or is that something that you're hoping maybe the city or DDA or something like that?
I can probably do most of it. I mean, I don't know if the city has extra picnic tables that are available that could be put there, at least at the beginning, until maybe better tables can be arranged.
What we thought on that is it was something that the city was going to work towards, but again, with us cutting the rent back, that's going to steer.
Yes.
When we were in,
project, but there's like who takes responsibility or financial responsibility that can be worked on. I mean, on a short term, there's picnic tables that are available that can be placed there, and then down the line, I work ideas. That's cost that I don't mind making
Yeah.
over time. Having the permission from the city to allow a food truck up right next to, that would be on my north side, is that the north side?
Yeah.
And then park there, then they can come through, get drinks and go sit on the other side. That would help getting picture. Like the concert, for what I noticed last summer, now beer and wine having beer and wine might be different, but when I noticed with the concert, once they put their chair down at 4:30, they're not getting up. So
Go mobile.
catch them as they go through, because once they're sitting down, they're done.
It's a free concert.
It's a free concert.
I didn't say it. We run the food truck down there. It's a free concert.
It's a
I think
Their cooler, I see that like with their cooler and
Their stuff.
the food truck, I was going like, how much, I'm not doing that much business because they're bringing their whole dinner on.
Yeah.
event, it's fun and, you know.
So just have it will increase, but it's not a big
pool, yeah.
And then on the proposal, I had put 1 year mostly to set it up and then be able to review. And if it really picks up and going, and you guys prefer going back to a full Saturday, then we can change it instead of locking both sides into something. That's why I put 1 year and just to review. I have no intention of going anywhere if it's working, so.
So I mean, at this point, Shannon, from us, do you need us to establish a minimum or do you need more time for internal conversation?
We'll probably do more time for some internal conversation, but it was kind of, we were happy that you guys are thinking the same thing that we are, that there's got to be a minimum on it, just because I do need to cover the utilities and stuff like that. For some reason, we thought it was going to be right like 150 is what we were talking about, but I have to pull a couple more bills that couldn't be pulled for me yet, so.
So would that be even in the off season?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be.
Proposal, he's saying they're closed.
January to April.
And that's because again, there's some cost. So that's.
Yeah, you'd be informing he is paying for the utilities of.
And there will be, once the online is there, I mean, I don't know how much it would be in the middle of January of online shopping.
Yeah.
There would be some sales, so then minimum plus.
Because Philippe, would you still be running equipment like the fridges and all that stuff, or would your plan to be like basically like shut it down for the off season kind of thing, or would you try to still keep things cold?
The online shop, I would keep the fridge plugged in, but in the winter, if the building is cold,
you don't really have to. You need a heater.
And it doesn't need to pump that much.
Yeah.
It's cold, so I don't know how much it's actually taking.
Yeah.
I said.
But it's not like there's not going to be a load you're going to be pulling on top of.
I mean, they're
minimum of its
fairly
being there.
efficient as far as equipment, as fridge equipment. And if probably the only one that could, if there's nothing during those time, I can just plan to not have inventory and shut the freezer off during the off season, which probably the only one that push a little bit more.
Okay, so you guys are good with, you're thinking a minimum based off the utilities.
And holding on and just to like a 1 year type situation rather than a graduated over 3 year process.
Yeah, I'd say, let's look at it in a year.
Review it in a year. Okay, that's what we felt the same way. Let's review in a year. Let's see where everybody's at in a year.
Any concerns with Arlene Reed being upset with this?
We built Arlie and Reed up much the same way.
Okay.
We gave them an opportunity to get their feet underneath them, and that's why we feel that this is.
Okay, so it's fair to them
with what they're doing.
Okay.
That was, that's partially what we were looking at with that is that we did, one of the things we did look at is new businesses. We want them to thrive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm not out to make money at the marina. I'm out to break even. Money I make there goes right back into the marina.
And we don't want to sit empty.
What? We don't want to see it empty.
Yeah.
It's good to have Philippe here. I just wonder, Arlie and Reed, maybe they ought to drop in a meeting and we just chat with them a little bit in the future.
Nope, I can make that suggestion.
Lay of the land, how's it going?
Yep. I know they had a very good year. I know they were frazzled at the end and still a little bit struggling to get the last 3 boats shrink wrapped with the weather. But I checked in with them a few times, just basically making certain that things were going well for them. And they both told me that they were doing okay. So that was one of the things that.
This year.
That's good.
That's nice of you.
That was, there was never a time that they were sitting.
Yeah.
There was never a time.
And it worked out just about exactly.
Just to make sure I'm on the same page with this. So in terms of the decision for this proposed rental agreement, you're going to meet internally, discuss what the minimum and next committee meeting, we're going to have a more formal.
I don't think it'll be a next committee meeting. What we will probably do is if we wanted to know that you guys were on board, we wanted to hear your thoughts in case there was something that we didn't think of, which is why I never said
I think you got it.
2 words until you guys did.
Okay.
Let us know what you guys are thinking.
Yeah. And that's what I was.
It's going to tell us what they're going to do.
Yeah, well, and that's ultimately you guys are an advisory.
Oh, all right.
Well, that is a fact.
There's benefits to that, I guess.
Ultimately, you guys are an advisory.
This is us. Well, that's what they said.
Is
I do. I have no problems throwing you under the bus. Wayne.
I'm used to it. Don't worry.
But that's what we wanted to hear you guys' feelings on it. We are kind of all, I think, on the same page as far as that's concerned. We all want to see a business succeed. We all want to give them a chance. And, I'm glad you guys brought up the minimum because that was one of the things we were talking about. So,
yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
On to 2023 meeting schedule.
You guys seen it?
I got to remember it.
Is it the same as it's
Same as it's been.
Yep. For me,
less likely?
And I'm all for if you don't have any real hot agenda,
then
cancel.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's.
Especially
how we did it this year, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what June, July, that's usually in there. We're all so busy that we try to let that one slide if we can, but.
When's the dock project start?
I have to get the bids out for the docks. Once I have a date from the dock company and a confirmation that this is the date they're going to show up and put my docks in, at that point in time, I will let out the bid or somebody to come in and demo the docks because until I see
on paper,
a paper saying your docks are going to be floating in your water on the state, I am not pulling the old ones.
Bid out yet?
For that one? Because I'm a slacker.
You ain't got a bid out for
The docks.
because it's a grant.
It's a grant. I had to wait for the grant whole thing to go through and
Well, okay.
yeah, there's,
I was under the impression that this was all ready to go for the fall and
well, and that's, we just got the executed documents back here 2 weeks ago. So now I can go ahead and bid it.
Who's the funding through? Is that Waterways?
Waterways. Yep.
So is the bubbler system going away after that?
There's some great articles about that bubbler system, by the way.
What?
There's some great records about the bubbler system. Oh yeah.
To be determined.
So we kind of need to know. Those
Yes,
school does.
because I was going to pull your dock up on where the launch ramps are.
Okay.
We talked about
We
that.
talked about that, but we were thinking, well, how are us 3 idiots going to do that?
Got 3 old men trying to move that around.
With a very nice loader donated by your Marina Techs. But
I
that's,
don't know. We need to look at what's underneath there. So
We'll take a look at that.
yeah, so it doesn't tear holes in the bottom because it might be just plastic.
right. And that's your dock was in there because I thought it could either go there or it can go over by the transient docks and go up on that shoreline behind the sewage plant.
Yeah, that'll work.
Because then that would be up on lawn.
We'd appreciate you helping us out on that.
Yes.
So-
I didn't forget you.
It's in 2 pieces. Yeah.
Worst case scenario too, we talked about is just leaving the bubblers or moving the hoses so the bubblers would bubble in the well. And
That'd
then
make it easy for us then.
we would float those in the well for the winter because then it would be it's no pressure.
Yeah.
It's not pumping as much.
Okay. Well, just keep us informed so we know what we have to do. Or-
Yes, you were already on my radar of what am I, there's that whole, this is the pieces that move. And that was the piece that moved.
Harbor Masters report.
I got word today that the Michigan Bass National Adult State Championship will be held in Alpena, September 8th through the 10th. That's,
Right.
they expect about 80 boats to come in with that.
Where
are they fishing?
Inland Lake or?
He said they're coming into the marina.
Is this Romeo's project?
No,
Wow.
Well, they,
Bass
last time they were here, didn't they jump around? They were in the Big Lake, they were in Long Lake, Grand Lake. Hubbard
Different
Lake.
group.
this is a different group.
Is there bass out there in Thunder Bay?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh,
Don't tell them it's not.
They what?
monster.
Different organization.
Yep.
I don't know anything about it. I'm
I
not.
mean, there's,
They're forming,
Hey.
they're gonna use the marina.
Oh, sure. That's why they're coming.
They're gonna,
actually right by the,
Out of the marina.
ever got my life right at the red blinky or the lighthouse. I
Okay.
mean, 21 inch or something
Sure
like
was a
that.
bass?
Smallmouth. Smallmouth. I mean, There's a lot of
big
bass,
fish.
a lot of bass in the bay.
Well, that's excellent.
Yes. The Michigan Bass National Adult State Championship.
Wow.
Jeez.
It's a mouthful.
That isn't the high school one, is it? That, you know, there's competitive.
There's a high school one. This guy used to run the youth one, but this is the adults coming in.
Okay.
So he said he's typically when they do them, there's 80 boats
How long is this tournament?
a weekend. And he was asking about Dockage and stuff like that. They're actually going to have no problems paying the launch fees daily. They're going to collect them and pay us in the end. So I'm like,
All right.
Is that like Labor Day weekend or right after?
it must be the weekend after.
Great.
Sweet.
Cool.
So working with him, like I said, this was a call at 9 o'clock this morning. Mr. Wilson, you're going to get some.
I am so fidgety.
He hit his 5:30 cutoff.
Jumpy. Gotta get some, he's missing cocktail hour.
I was thinking about that.
Shakes all of a sudden.
I'm really happy these don't get recorded.
They do. Yeah, so they're coming in. If you guys happen to see Cooter out and about, congratulate him. He was the DPW recipient of Citywide Pride, which means
Really?
he received more basically kudos slips that we hand out than any of the other DPW employees.
Sweet.
Cool.
So shake his hand. I thought it was well deserved on his part. He's, what? Not as many as you think. I probably had 3 that I gave him.
Uh-huh.
And other than that, they were peers and stuff like that.
Cool.
So,
So does he get like his own parking spot now?
he gets half a day's vacation.
Wow.
Ah, nice.
He gets 4 hours of personal time.
Okay.
Sweet.
So,
My company.
Yeah.
in your business.
I need a half a day off.
Other than that, just a reminder that bills go out again in February. If you see everybody out and about, there's going to be an email coming out shortly. As soon as your harbor master's not a slacker. And
She said just paid one bill.
so there'll be an email coming out shortly, just reminding everybody to be aware those are coming, to let me know if you're not coming back. I have had some interest in slips, so I've got people going on a wait list right now so I can shuffle people. There are 2 spots open on Prentice Street still for shorter boats. So those are available. Not the one you want, Wayne.
No, I'm trading with my neighbor.
Are you? Oh, good.
I'll send you an email.
Okay. And then other than that, that's pretty much what I have, other than we forgot our added agenda item.
Capital.
So did you guys get a chance to take a look at those today? Is there anything in there that you thought was?
Remind me, the Alpena Marina social gathering area. Well, maybe I'm misreading this.
That is we talked, that was one of the things that was
Pulled the kiosk out of, right?
where I pulled the kiosk out of. We also talked about actually moving that down by the flagpole even, just to kind of put you out on that point. One of the ideas was a fire pit in that area, but not a fire pit, like a propane burning one. Just an area for people to kind of congregate and gather. And one of the things that the harbor side the small boat harbor marina side, the parking lot side there, I talked about, so.
The bathroom, when is that gonna happen?
That'll be my next round of grants with Waterways.
Of the Bayview?
Bayview we're in design right now, and just as soon as the design comes back.
So one thing, because I was looking at this for the yacht club, they changed the floodplain
Huh?
significantly.
Did they? I hate when that happens.
So who's ever designing that? Of course, you do your own inspections, right?
Mhm.
What you trying to say, Wayne?
You have to go by the building code?
Probably.
You guys do?
We still have to his building.
Might want to, I don't know exactly where it's gonna go.
It's actually, I'm going to steal the driveway coming into the parking lot there by the kiddie park.
So that parking lot would, in theory, would only have a one entrance, one exit.
I'll send you the map.
If you could. I think
You may have to put some fill in, or whoever's designing it, maybe, I don't know.
we're gonna have to put some fill in anyways, because there's a force main in that area. So. I'm coming up, but at ADA compliance. Is that gonna be enough?
Well, so where the yacht club is, you'd have to fill 4 feet.
I might be okay.
I'll send you the map because it kind of loops up in there.
Okay. There's a low.
The building is in it, but then it kind of goes where those houses are there.
So what, do you have to dike around the building or what?
You'll build it up and then just slope down off of it.
Fill up and make yourself high enough.
Build on top of that.
You give them money. That's the cure for
There.
the government.
Figured
right?
that,
You give them
yeah.
some money. It's the cryptocurrency guy.
Any other projects that you see in there that there's questions on?
Mixed use building now?
What? No. That was
long-term, wasn't it?
it's in the long-term ones. That's.
Mixed use, that was the Fletcher idea, right? Or is this, or am I
Yeah, and it's kind of
different?
combination from there, kind of turned into other things. But that's still on the radar. We just got it in the long-term planning.
That would be the storage building, brown trout.
Pavilion, yeah.
And ladder up toward the sewer.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're looking at. There was a request for it not to go in that area, to go in a different area and just different things like that. So, I mean, it's in there. What it is it's a placeholder. We know it's something that we want to do eventually. However, it's not on our front burner. We got other bigger priorities, but we know it's a project we eventually want to do. So it goes into the long-term planning. It's kind of like the culvert.
Was that in our master plan?
It is in the master plan. Anything you see in here, I went back to that master plan that we did and made certain all those projects went in there. So the new ones you are seeing are listed.
The pump station, the waste pump thing, was that a long-term or a short-term? You're going to try to get a grant to replace the.
Oh, that actually was just one that I reached out and grabbed as part of it. I actually got a note back from them that we should hear about that in the spring. It sounded like we were, there was possibilities they were sending them on and up through the system. So that was not in here. It's a good thing you mentioned that because I forgot it. But we're trying to get that done. She thought we would be able to do those. She was going to release funds in the spring, so it would still be done in this fiscal year.
Do we have the listing of the projects that are for sure going to happen in 2023?
Yes, I can send that to you. It's in the budget. I just don't have it with me.
Okay.
The docs is the one that's in.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Maybe out a couple years or.
See, and we can't go out 2 years because we only approve the budget 1 year at a time.
Gotcha, okay.
And then like these here are the ones I'm going to propose for the budget next year.
That works for me.
Sounds good.
You need to vote on this?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a vote, or can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve those projects or whatever.
I'll support it.
Right, okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries.
Naughty seat, you don't get the second me.
Moving on to public comment. Any comment? Sweet. Member comments. Awesome. Staff comments. Fantastic.
Case, Kathy?
Oh,
We have to make a motion on the calendar just for the schedule.
oh, for the count.
To approve the calendar. for
I
next year.
support that.
Fantastic. Motion carries. Thank you. Staff comment, we're good. So next meeting is January 5th. Topics for discussion, commercial businesses, SOP and advertising. Can I get an adjournment for today's meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Awesome. Motion carries.
One thing I just should have mentioned, Viking's going to be in here 20 cruises a year. Going to be here 20 and 23 and 20 and 24. They're, I think, sold out for up to about half of even 24.
Wow.
We have 1 week where they show up twice in about 3 days.
You got volunteers to manage all that?
Well, that's the big issue right now is doing that. It's a big deal.
Don't they shed some funds this way to?
Well, they do, yeah. And we're trying to make them shed more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the money we asked for. They were like appalled. That's what we asked for.
Like, not enough?
They thought it was crazily expensive, so.
Well, but they play the empty pockets game, you know. Especially the vendor or the excursion.
Company, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there, for 13 grand a week, they might be able to come up with a couple $100.
Yeah. All right. Good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.